Producer, actor, and music legend Ice Cube and entertainment executive Jeff Quantinez set out to create a new basketball league to change the game, but now they're doing that on more than just the court. They pride themselves on the diversity within their company, all while many boardrooms across the nation still remain predominantly white. And joining me now to talk more about this is board chair Amy Trask of the Big Three Basketball League. Amy, good evening and welcome to BNC.
Well, thank you for having me. It is truly my honor and pleasure to join you.
Yes, we appreciate your time tonight. So, Amy, the Big Three is a league more focused on entertainment and innovation, but also it has a much bigger mission when it comes to changing the face of the game behind the scenes. Could you talk about that and how this has worked for the organization so far?
Well, it's worked magnificently, and doing the right thing is what businesses should do. As you mentioned a moment ago, a lot of businesses are talking about this. Not many are doing this, and it is a delight to be part of a business that is truly walking the walk with respect to race, gender, ethnicity, and every other individuality that has absolutely no bearing whatsoever on whether one can do a job. If you can do a job, you can do a job, and nothing matters in terms of race, gender, ethnicity, or any of those individualities.
Yeah, and I mean, Amy, last year after George Floyd was murdered, companies came out of the woodworks, as we say it. They said they were going to start making their companies more diverse. Not everyone who said they're committed to the culture, as we say that as well, has done that. What do you think about that, and why do you think it takes these corporations so long to get the job done?
Well, I wish I knew what the answer to speeding this up would be. I think the answer in large part, however, is all of us speaking with the power of our purse. That's an expression I learned years and years ago. We all have the power of our purse, and we can spend our money where and how and with whom we choose to spend it. And if we can spend it with businesses that are doing the right thing, then that's where we should spend it. The power of the purse is very powerful, and a number of businesses have taken note about what Cube and Jeff and Clyde and the Big Three are doing, and they have stepped forward and said, wow, here is a business that is hiring people without regard to race, gender, ethnicity, religion, or any other individuality that doesn't matter, and those sponsors are walking the walk.
Yeah. And why do you think it's so hard to adapt? Why is it so hard to say, you know, these people are qualified, black people, brown people are qualified for these jobs, so they should have these jobs?
I can't for the life of me understand why people continue to have that view. It's absurd. I hope, and again, power of the purse goes to this, that we can implement business Darwinism. Because a business which doesn't hire in the manner we're discussing, in the manner in which the Big Three hires, should by definition fail. Because if you are eliminating from consideration people that can help you be a better business simply because of race or gender, etc., then you deserve to fail, and you should fail because you are eliminating vast swaths of tremendously qualified people who can help you be your best.
Definitely some strong, powerful words there. And you know, you talk about what you guys are doing. What efforts have you all been making to make sure that you all show up differently in the sports world?
Well, I'll give you one example. Year one, Clyde Drexler was a head coach of one of our teams. Year two, we made Clyde Drexler commissioner of the league. He is magnificent as our commissioner, but we had to replace him as a head coach. So I was sitting in a room with Cube, with Jeff, with Clyde, and I said, what about Nancy Lieberman? And not one of them batted an eye. We brought Nancy in her first year. She won the championship. She was voted head coach of the year by all of the players and her fellow coaches. And you know what? The next year when we expanded, we added Lisa Leslie, and she did the same thing. She won the championship and was voted coach of the year. We are walking the walk with respect to race, with respect to gender, and we're going to keep doing it. And I'll share with you something else. I spent almost 30 years in the National Football League. I'm now with the Big Three in basketball. And never once have I encountered a player who cares about the gender or the race or the ethnicity of one of his teammates or coaches or business leaders. Players care about one thing: can you help me win? And businesses should care about one thing: can you help me be better? And that's where the discussion should end.
Yeah, Yeah, that is very, very important. And so what would you like to still see change? What needs to change across the board?
Well, what needs to change is that businesses need to operate in the manner that Cube and Jeff are operating the big three, in the manner that Al Davis hired when he hired me. He hired, and I'm doing this chronologically, not in order of importance, he hired Tom Flores as a head coach. He hired me, and that was back in the early part of the 80s when a lot of people watching and listening weren't even born. And then he hired advanced Art Shell from a position coach to head coach. So men and women who are running businesses need to follow the lead of Al Davis, of Ice Cube, of Jeff Quantinitz, and hire without regard to race, gender, ethnicity, etc. And if they don't, we all have the choice as consumers to not spend our money with them.
And did they go in this with the perspective that we wanted to change the game for everybody? We want it to be different?
Well, this is a group of individuals who have always done everything differently, and by differently, I mean magnificently. Doing the right thing should not be as hard as it seemingly is for many people. But look, it is an honor to work with Cube, to work with Jeff, and to work with Clyde, people who are doing the right thing because that's the way these people are made. But again, that's the way they've led their lives. Do the right thing and do it for the right reasons.
Yeah. Well, Amy, we want to say thank you so much. We appreciate the work that you all are doing in making sure that we show up in those boardrooms each and every day, and hopefully other businesses hear what you all are doing and follow suit.